I'm not going to spend a lot of time with the music here. This is a special episode. I didn't want to weigh in on the politics too much, but I'd like to thank, since I have listeners in Georgia, Atlanta, it looks like, I'd like to thank the listeners in Atlanta for listening. I think Georgia has done a great service to this nation, the way you came down in a presidential election. Hopefully, if you are listening to the show, just a couple people, just if I reach anybody, share. If you can go out every time you vote, if you listen to the show, it's probably someone who should be voting for either Warnock or Ossoff, or whatever his name is, Ossoff. And I think they have a really good chance. And I like to thank people that hopefully the people who listen are people that are actually, they care enough. If you're care enough to listen to a podcast, and hope that there's something you haven't heard before comes up. That's what I want to do. I want to entertain. I want to do this, and I also want to be supportive too. And I have Littleton, Colorado. I know there's listeners in Littleton. There have been downloads there, and Atlanta, Georgia. I know Calgary, Canada. We had a whole bunch of downloads from there. I don't know how that spread around, but I do appreciate you. I hopefully, people that like the Keys may start listening, but there's people that like the Keys that actually don't like my politics that get turned off. I'm sorry about that, but that's just the way it is. We are creatures that live in the world here, and if you're going to do a show where you're listening to someone for a while, you may not want to. People say, well, I'm not talking about bartending, which I am talking about bartending. Bartending involves everything. I mean, we'll talk about mixing a drink every so often. I mean, I do appreciate the people that are filling in for me at my work while I'm been out on medical leave. Some people say, hey, they should know what a Manhattan is. Well, Manhattan isn't that popular a drink anymore. It's not like you were if you were a bartender 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Manhattans were much bigger. I mean, maybe Manhattans are coming around and seeing a resurgence, just like the martini. And now you got new ones too. You got all these different cocktails, but they had crazy cocktails back years ago too. Things that have like egg in them and all this stuff. Like a sour mix has some kind of egg white in it. And there's all sorts of stuff. And there's designer bitters and shit like that. My point was that when you're doing a job, bartending is 95% the same thing. The person's going to tell you, I want blanket soda with a lime garnish, or I want a martini, extra dirty, blue cheese olives, or olives, whatever. They're going to tell you what they want. Sometimes they just call up and they'll have a drink like, I'll have a rum punch. Well, you're asking. That's like asking someone, give me dessert. I'll have dessert, whatever's on dessert. That's the same thing when you order a rum punch, because there's just a whole bunch of different, there's a traditional rum punch, and they have the creme de cassis and all that stuff some people put in it, and you got different fruit punches that go in it, orange and pineapple, maybe a little, people have their own mix. They put in mango, they put in grapefruit, they put in whatever. It's a fruit punch. Deal with it. And people say, well, this doesn't taste like, it's like saying if you bought a stew. This stew doesn't taste like the stew I had 1,000 miles from here. Stew isn't saying, there's hardly anything that's just, peanut butter and jelly. Depending on the jelly you use too, and the peanut butter. You got that natural stuff that tastes sometimes really good, but looks kind of gross. Matter of fact, that's funny. I'm just thinking about peanut butter. I was talking about how grossed I was about my problems with the listening to the person pulled the drain out. Dr. Shell pulled the drain out today. They said, I'm never going to be interested in eating ever again in my life after hearing that sound. You know, it's always a temporary thing when it comes to something like that. But God, what's the point? It's always going to like to thank the people. You know, they're, you know, the soundness of our democracy and Constitution lies today in the hands of the Georgia voters. And unfortunately, right now, there's a lot of rancor going up in the political world. And some people have a hard time accepting the facts if they don't fit in with their worldview. And they're in such a deep denial in that right now that they're considering to do something that's never been done in the United States. You know, it's an attempted coup. Now, the leader of the Republican Party that's going to remain, Mitch McConnell, who's the majority leader in the Senate, he's ready to move on and do whatever he's going to do after January 20th. You try to deal with the new administration in a true, spirited, bipartisan way, or be obstructionist, just like he was with Obama. You know, you have to bring a reminder of Merrick Garland. You know, come on. You see, Trump's a lame duck president. He got, within a couple of weeks, he was able to pick a Supreme Court justice. In this case, you know, Obama wasn't even allowed, they didn't even allow a consideration for it. No hearings. Okay? Because they said that, you know, the voters need to speak. And they did. Okay? And they rejected him. So if it was the law, if it would all common sense made law, or law was common sense, then the rejection of the person that did the nomination in the last couple of weeks, meaning that you should reject the nominee or not even take it up. But we don't do that. And you know, right now they're not even talking about loading the courts and stuff like that, which it could. But today, I'd like to thank, once again, I thought it was apropos that I have listeners in Atlanta. I'd like to have more listeners in Georgia. We are a progressive show. If you're not, I'm not looking to engage the other side. I'm not going to bring you to the light. The failure of your understanding of bigger issues and what makes someone truly American, truly patriotic, truly Christian is probably is outside your grasp right now. You have a lot of hate. You won't even consider that. You're just tagging on this ideas of socialism and all the godlessness and all that stuff. That's bullshit. You know, right now the guy you're hiding right now, he's not even worried about. He's trying to change the election results. He's not even trying to deal with the failing dissemination of vaccinations in the United States. We're falling very short of the goals, and we could be out quicker. But we don't have the mask mandates. We don't have this. We're going to be going through a rough month or two, and we could be going through less with this. Just making sure that we roll this out quicker with the first responders and the people at risk. You get that, and then we start thinking about relaxing. But right now we can't do that because you guys are focusing on something that's fictional. And hopefully you people in Atlanta would be able to remedy that, Atlanta and the rest of Georgia, all the progressives. And if you disagree with that, you get very angry and stuff like that. I don't think this billionaire Loeffler and this guy, millionaire Perdue, are going to be looking out for you. They're not looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves. Trust me. That's their job. They don't get to be a billionaire without looking out for yourself. That's how you keep all the money. Stuff like that. That's their goal, to keep the money. Keep all of it, no matter how they earned it. And then remember, they had privy to information prior to the widening outbreak that they are accused of gaining insider information, of gaining from their investments and their fortune. They're just for self-enrichment. Okay? Consider that. Just consider that. You may not have all the facts. So if you disagree with me, vote your conscience, or don't vote at all because you probably think it's fake, right? Because, yeah, it's got to be fake because I won. Yeah, you won because you thought you won. You didn't win because mathematically you didn't win. You didn't have as many votes. And it wasn't cheated. It's a real thing. So, if it's always going to be this, every time you lose is the only way you could have won is you cheated, then you're never going to see an end to it. You're just always going to see it. It's the way. You're going to be like that Mrs. Havisham in Great Expectations, waiting for that groom to show up, leaving a table set. You know, if you're not familiar with Dickens, check it out. The imagery is this old lady. She's disgruntled for years of being stood up as a young, beautiful bride. And all the shit's laying on the table still for the wedding. So, it's great symbolism right there. It's over. Move on. The wedding isn't going to happen. Okay, well, this is another short one by Jim the Keys Bartender. Talk to you later. Take care and God bless. Bye.